Empires. They rise with the force of ambition, ingenuity, and conquest, reshaping the world in their image. They dominate, inspire, and endure until they don't. Every empire, no matter how grand, carries the seeds of its own collapse. Today, we're diving into the entire history of humanity's greatest empires, exploring their ascent to glory and their inevitable fall. From the sands of ancient Egypt to the sprawling reach of the British Empire, this is a story of power, legacy, and lessons carved into the annals of time. Let's begin where civilization itself took root. Ancient Egypt, one of the world's first and most enduring empires. Over 5,000 years ago, along the fertile banks of the Nile River, a society emerged that would captivate humanity for millennia. Egypt's story starts with unification around 3100 BCE, when King Narmer, also known as Menes, forged Upper and Lower Egypt into a single kingdom. The Nile was Egypt's lifeblood. Its annual floods enriched the soil, allowing agriculture to thrive in an otherwise unforgiving desert. This abundance fueled a civilization that built wonders we still marvel at today. Under the Old Kingdom, from 2686 to 2181 BCE, Egypt's pharaohs, seen as living gods, commanded the construction of the pyramids. The Great Pyramid of Giza, built for Pharaoh Khufu, stood as the tallest man-made structure for over 3,800 years. Imagine the scene: tens of thousands of workers hauling limestone blocks, architects calculating precise angles, all to honor a ruler believed to ascend to the heavens. This wasn't just architecture. It was a statement of divine power and eternal ambition. Egypt's centralized authority, advanced mathematics, and hieroglyphic writing made it a beacon of progress in the ancient world. But even Egypt couldn't escape decline. The Old Kingdom crumbled around 2181 BCE, plagued by drought, famine, and weakened pharaohs who lost control to local nobles. Yet Egypt rose again in the Middle Kingdom, reclaiming stability and expanding trade. By the New Kingdom, from 1550 to 1070 BCE, Egypt reached its imperial peak. Pharaohs like Hatshepsut, a rare female ruler, expanded trade with distant lands, while Ramses II, the Great, waged wars against the Hittites and left monuments like Abu Simbel as testaments to his reign. Egypt's armies marched, its gold flowed, and its culture flourished, yet cracks were forming. Foreign invasions, internal strife, and economic strain eroded its might. By 1070 BCE, Egypt fragmented, and its days as a dominant empire faded, though its legacy endured. Next, let's journey to the Persian Empire, born in the 6th century BCE under Cyrus the Great. From the Iranian plateau, Cyrus built an empire stretching from India to the Mediterranean, an expanse of 5.5 million square kilometers. Unlike conquerors who crushed their foes, Cyrus ruled with tolerance, allowing conquered peoples to keep their customs and religions. This strategy knit together a vast, diverse realm. The Persians mastered infrastructure. Think of the Royal Road, a 2,500-kilometer highway linking the empire, or their early postal system. Under Darius I, Persepolis rose as a dazzling capital, its palaces adorned with gold and intricate reliefs. Persia's strength was its adaptability, but its size became its weakness. Rebellions flared, and the Greco-Persian Wars drained its resources. In 330 BCE, Alexander the Great stormed through, torching Persepolis and ending the Achaemenid dynasty. Persia's fall was swift, but its influence on governance and culture rippled through history. Speaking of Alexander, his empire redefined conquest. Born in 356 BCE in Macedon, Alexander inherited a kingdom from his father, Philip II, and turned it into a colossus. By age 32, he'd conquered Persia, Egypt, Mesopotamia, and beyond, creating an empire of 5 million square kilometers. Alexander wasn't just a warrior, he was a visionary. He founded cities like Alexandria in Egypt, spreading Greek culture, Hellenism, across continents. His battles, like Issus and Gaugamela, showcased tactical genius, overwhelming enemies with speed and ferocity. But Alexander's empire died with him in 323 BCE. Without a clear successor, his generals, the Diadochi, carved up his realm, plunging it into chaos. His dream of unity dissolved, yet Hellenism endured, shaping the Mediterranean world. Now let's turn to Rome, the empire that still echoes in our laws, languages, and cities. From a small city on the Tiber River in 753 BCE, Rome grew into a juggernaut. By 27 BCE, under Augustus, it became an empire spanning 3 continents. Rome's legions conquered Carthage, Greece, and Gaul, while its engineers built aqueducts, roads, and the Colosseum. At its height in 117 CE, under Trajan, Rome ruled 5 million square kilometers and 60 million people. Pax Romana brought 2 centuries of relative peace, trade, and prosperity. Yet Rome's grandeur masked rot. Corruption, overexpansion, and economic woes weakened it. In 476 CE, the Western Roman Empire fell to barbarian invasions, though the eastern half, Byzantium, survived for another 1,000 years. Rome's collapse reshaped Europe, but its legacy in law, architecture, and Christianity endures. Fast forward to the 13th century, where the Mongol Empire erupted under Genghis Khan. From the steppes of Mongolia, Genghis united nomadic tribes and unleashed a conquest spanning 23 million square kilometers, larger than any empire before or since. His horsemen crushed China, Persia, and Eastern Europe with unmatched speed and brutality. The Mongols didn't just destroy, they connected the world. The Silk Road flourished under their rule, spreading goods, ideas, and even the Black Death. Genghis's death in 1227 didn't stop the empire. It grew under his successors, like Kublai Khan, who founded China's Yuan dynasty. But infighting and overreach fractured it. By the late 14th century, the Mongol Empire splintered, its vastness a memory. Closer to our time, the British Empire rose in the 16th century, peaking in the 19th and early 20th centuries. From a small island, Britain ruled a quarter of the world's land and people, over 400 million souls. The Industrial Revolution fueled its dominance, with steamships, railways, and telegraphs binding colonies from India to Africa to Canada. Britain spread its language, laws, and culture, often at the cost of local traditions. Yet rebellion and exhaustion eroded it. 2 world wars drained its resources and independence movements. India in 1947, Africa in the mid-20th century dismantled it. By the late 20th century, Britain's empire was a shadow, though its cultural imprint remains global. What ties these empires together? Ambition drove their rise. Egypt's pyramids, Persia's roads, Alexander's cities, Rome's legions, Mongol conquests, Britain's navy. Innovation sustained them, writing, engineering, trade networks. But decline was inevitable. Droughts, wars, corruption, or simply the weight of their own size brought them down. Their stories aren't just history, they're warnings and inspirations. Empires rise and fall, but humanity endures, building anew on the ruins of the past.